A great way to support Daily Thunder is by visiting one of our partners, Shopgood. Shopgood has you covered on all Thunder-related clothing items, including original and hand-printed shirts, hats, and stickers for both adults and kids. Be sure to check out our Thunderbird tee, a popular team redesign concept that pays homage to Oklahoma's Native American culture. To view Daily Thunder's entire catalog at Shopgood, visit shopgoodokc.com/daily-thunder. Thank you for listening to this episode and for supporting Daily Thunder. Welcome back to the Daily Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Woods. I am here, as always, with Brandon Rabar, Daily Thunder beat writer. Brandon, how are you, man?
I am good. It's a Friday night. Thunder lost by double digits, but there was some promise from the Thunder's top two pieces going forward. So to me, it was still a win in the Thunder column tonight.
You're a big moral victory guy.
I am. I mean, when you're doing a rebuild, when you're going through a rebuild, it's got to be about moral victories, because if you're gonna, get your enjoyment and happiness from wins and losses, like the actual wins and losses in the NBA standings, you're going to have a miserable time, for at least this year and maybe the next year. So yeah, it's all about moral victories. It's all about seeing what SGA, Giddey, and Dort do.
If you're new to the podcast, this is lesson one. Brandon is the eternal optimist. He is incredibly optimistic about pretty much everything, but especially when it comes to this Thunder team and the rebuild. Wouldn't you say? You would agree with that, right? You're very optimistic.
I like to say I'm a realistic optimist.
Okay.
I am an optimist, but I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm like a homer or like an unrealistic. I like to spit facts. Now they may have a positive spin, and I may look at, all the positives. Like if I were to break down a game, I'd focus on, tonight, for instance, against the Hornets. All right, well, the Thunder lost by like 23 points. And everybody outside of SGA and Giddey were not very good. So I'd probably just focus on SGA and Giddey and talk about how good they were, and just kind of, maybe not bring up some of the guys who were 0 for or 1 for tonight. I guess I'd say there's a few 1 for guys. I just want to bring those guys up.
And for another example, on lottery night, I believe it was you that was you were talking me off the ledge after the result of 6. That was a low night for a lot of fans, and I feel like Brandon was kind of our North Star. He kind of kept us in line.
Well, my feeling, again, obviously not the best turnout, but I had done so much nerdy research.
Yeah,
again,
you were so high on so many guys. You felt good about it.
I was like, if the Thunder end up with Scotty Barnes, that's really good. If the Thunder end up, and of course that turned out to be true, if the Thunder end up with Jonathan Kuminga, that's really good. And I still think long term, Kuminga will be a nice player. He's actually showed out for the Warriors the last several games. And of course, I was really, really high on Josh Giddey. I didn't think the Thunder would pick him at number 6, but when they eventually did, I was happy with that pick. So, I mean, like, if the Thunder would have ended up, with the 8th pick, that would have been, rough. But I felt like there was a few players there that would be there at 6 that you could get excited about. Yeah. So
that was an interesting moment looking back at it. The fact that we kind of had our once the pick came to Oklahoma City and we had seen who had come off the board, we all kind of thought it would either be Bouknight or Kuminga, both names starting with J. So when Adam Silver started Josh Giddey's name with J, I was like, oh, okay, now which one is it? And it was a name that I completely did not expect. I rewatched it the other day, and it reminded me how totally shocked I was, because I was expecting a J name. I was expecting one of 2 J names, and it was a third J name that I was not expecting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's John and Josh, or Jonathan and Josh. I mean, so
Yeah.
you got the J-O at the very beginning. Yeah, it was it was shocking. But you know, if you go back and listen to these, old pre-draft podcasts, or when I was doing other podcasts or spots on the radio or articles, I just kept going back to Josh Giddey because the new Thunder stereotype are these really, really big guys who are all 6'8", 6'9", who can handle the ball really well, have really, really high IQ, that can pass really well, that are team guys. And it was just and that are really young. And like Josh Giddey, checked all those boxes. So I was like, Josh Giddey is exactly who Sam Preston would like. I just didn't think they would take him at 6.
Hmm.
But then again, I knew there was no way he'd be available at 18. So I just didn't think that they would end up with him. But I also didn't know how high the Warriors and the Grizzlies were on him. And then there was no way he was going to fall past 7. So yeah, but, and obviously that has turned out really, really well. Would you have rather had that, first or second picking at Kate Cunningham or Evan Mobley? Obviously, or better yet, end up with one of those guys plus the 5th pick. That was the thing that really hurt. I thought that they didn't end up with the Rockets pick.
That one stung. Speaking
That
of
that's what.
Josh Giddey, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists tonight. Um, Continues to move the ball well, no matter who he's out there with. We talked about it last year with SGA, but another guy that's just going to have a ton of potential assists not realized based on who he's out there with. And um, I think it's incredibly exciting going forward. The fact that he remains such a willing and high level passer, knowing he's smart enough to know, like, I'm gonna whip this to the corner because it's the right play. And today there isn't a guy there that's going to hit this shot, but one day there will be. So I've got to continue to train this muscle to get this pass to this spot in time and in the right spot, because one day there will be a guy there that is capable of finishing this type of pass.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there will be at some point there will be guys who are, the Thunder. It's not like the old days where Sam Presti is going to draft a bunch of really athletic guys who are defenders but can't shoot at all. That's not the Thunder prototype anymore. He's going to draft shooters, and had he had the chance, he would have drafted a shooter in this draft, and he did with Trey Mann. But it was with the 18th pick. But coming into the 2022 draft, I think that you can fully expect for the Thunder to draft shooters. And Josh Giddey, man, if you surround Josh Giddey and SGA with shooters, it's a game changer. I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
making the right plays, and you saw tonight. I was talking to somebody else, and you saw tonight they defended Josh Giddey and SGA kind of straight up, and they defended everybody else, and that's why Giddey and SGA just went to town. They were able to score whenever they wanted to because for once the paint wasn't clogged. Usually, you see teams defending the Thunder, and they just completely pack the paint and make them beat you from outside. Tonight, SGA and Giddey, it was a lot easier, more room to breathe, and they both went off. 29 points for SGA, 21 for Giddey. And ideally, you surround these two guys with 3 shooters in the starting lineup, and that's what you'll see more often in the future. And Giddey's going to make all those right passes, and instead of ending nights with 3 assists like tonight, he should have easily had 7 or 8 tonight. I mean, that's just a typical thing for Josh.
Speaking of shooters, we talked about him last week, but 20 points for PJ Washington. He went 6 of 10 for 3. Every single shot he took tonight was a 3. He went 6 for 10. He did make 2 free throws. He was a plus 20 in 26 minutes. I really like his size and the fact that he's a fantastic shooter at his size. I love the idea of him as a good fit with SGA and Giddey.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's a guy that if the Thunder are going to trade for a young prospect, we talk so much about Thunder trades, and it's usually for first round picks or second round picks. and they haven't really made a trade yet for a young prospect. Obviously, like Ty Jerome was traded here as a part of the Chris Paul trade, and there's been guys like that, Isaiah Roby, some guys with some potential, but not any guys like with the ceiling of a PJ Washington or a Cam Reddish. They didn't trade for Cam Reddish, but you hear these names, and the Thunder haven't traded for one of those guys yet. But PJ Washington really would be kind of the ideal guy. Affordable if he's actually available. I just don't know why the Hornets would, but if he's available, then yeah, you could get a guy like that, and he makes sense. He fits the timeline. He can shoot. He can play small forward, power forward, and he can really help a team. Like a guy like that makes a lot of sense, and a guy that you don't have to kind of break the bank, whether it be with draft stock or by giving him a huge extension.
And he's only 23. He doesn't turn 24 until August, until the offseason. Like he's relatively young. I would think
Yeah,
of him as older than that.
Yeah, like if Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the timeline, which he is, that's his nickname to a lot of people.
Right.
The timeline.
Right.
He is exactly on that timeline because he is the exact same age as Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
And went to Kentucky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I mean, obviously the Thunder love Kentucky players, not only Shea, but there's been a history lately of Kentucky players. And there's a couple guys coming out that the Thunder could be interested in as well. But yeah, I mean, PJ Washington kind of saw up close and personal. He is a guy that would absolutely help this Thunder team. And I do wonder, at some point the Thunder are going to trade for players. Everybody jokes around that they always trade players for picks. They are going to trade for some players at some point, like players they actually plan to use and keep. And if you're picking guys, PJ Washington is kind of a perfect guy.
All right, you mentioned a couple guys that coming out of the draft from Kentucky. So let's get into this. I want to talk about where Oklahoma City sits and what your thoughts are for kind of projecting where you think they finish the rest of the way as far as tanking goes. And I know that's not everybody's favorite word, but 538 put out an updated projection, win total projection for every team, and Oklahoma City, they have Oklahoma City finishing with the third worst record. So Orlando with the worst at 19 wins, Detroit second to last with 21 wins, and then Oklahoma City, they have it third worst record in the league with 23, followed by Houston at 24. So right now Oklahoma City and Houston have the same amount of wins. They project Houston with one more win remain through the remainder of their schedule. Would have been nice to get that one against Golden State tonight. I don't know if we're recording pretty much. We hit record right after that game ended. Steph hit a buzzer beater to beat the Rockets. I think the Rockets had like a 7-point lead with just a couple minutes left.
I know it was 91 to 80. Yeah, it was 91 to 82 at one point in the fourth. They just blew it there at the end.
They did a lot of Rockets things late in that game. And then they to finish this out, Kings with the fifth worst record is what they're projecting with 29. So a big discrepancy, a big cushion there between 4 and 5 with 24 wins to 29 wins. So you're kind of looking at a team in Orlando that's probably, I mean, they might have already locked up one of those bottom two records. I think we'd both agree with that. Going to be tough for them to pass who's ahead of them. And then Detroit and then Oklahoma City. That's where they have it. So your initial thoughts on that projection and where that leaves Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I think that Orlando's essential number one. Like, that's just the way it is. I don't see any way that doesn't happen. But I will say Detroit only has 3 less losses than OKC. And in their last 10, they've had 3 more wins than OKC has had. So I don't think it's just completely out of the realm of possibility that Detroit passes OKC. I don't think it'll happen. I think that the Pistons will end up there. But it's possible. They, obviously Kay Cunningham is kind of coming on. and they've got a couple other guys that can help as far as winning goes. And OKC, the biggest difference is between them and the Rockets which is kind of primarily what I'll focus on, because I do think ultimately Magic will be number one, Pistons probably be number two. We saw last year that Troy Weaver will throw in the towel and tank when necessary. So I think that'll happen. The Rockets are playing their vets right now. They're playing Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, and those guys so many minutes, and they're actually trying to win. And obviously, the Thunder, when they step on the court, they try to win. They're playing to win. The players are playing to win, and the coaches are playing to win. But they don't play their vets big minutes. They only have a couple of vets: Mike Muscala, Derek Favors, and Kenrich Williams. And Derek Favors, you never know any given night whether he's going to play or not. And Kenrich and Muscala are playing few minutes. They're not playing big minutes. When they play, they make a big difference, just like Christian Wood and Eric Gordon do for the Rockets. But the Thunder have committed to playing the young guys many more minutes. And so I think that the Thunder will end up third. I think that the Rockets will end up passing them. I still worry a little bit about the Spurs, Pacers, Kings, and Blazers, but the Blazers have been hot lately. Simons has been really, Anthony Simons has been really good. CJ McCollum has been back, and he's been really good. Maybe Dame comes back, but right now they're in the play-in spot, and it looks like they're playing to win. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they have one of the easiest schedules for the rest of the way. So I think they're kind of safe from there. The Kings, you always got to worry about the Kings. The Pelicans will be fine. I think with Ingram and oh my gosh, the big I always struggle to say his name, Ryan. I will never be able to say his name.
I got you, Jonas Valanciunas.
Valanciunas, thank you. I can spell it, but I can't say it.
Speaking of the Blazers schedule, I'm looking at it right now. They close with the Pacers, Pistons, Spurs, Rockets twice, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Spurs 2 more times, Oklahoma City again, Pelicans again. So they get Houston twice, Spurs 3 times, Oklahoma City twice, New Orleans twice, and then the Pistons and Pacers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's their final, 11 games?
That's huge.
They could potentially win every one of those if Dame's back.
Yeah, if Dame's back. And, right now, like I said, they're in the play-in, and the West is so weird right now. Who's going to take that last spot from the Blazers? I mean, maybe the Pelicans if Zion comes back. And I don't know. The Spurs still scare me, but, I think that loss to the Spurs was big, obviously. Maybe the Spurs Pop needs 10 more wins for the rest of the season to break the all-time record. So
yeah, you brought that up today. That's a good point. That's something to watch for, because that would be something worth playing for, especially if they know internally that this is his last year. Obviously,
right.
that he might coach for 10 more years. Who knows? But if that's something that they know internally, that could be something they go for.
Right. And if it's a deal where he wants to break the record, but he doesn't necessarily want to come back next year, he's going to play until – I don't think he'll come up too short and then not coach next year. So, I think that they could go for it. Right now, they're 17-29. You add 10 wins to that, that's 27-29. The Thunder would have to win 13 games for the rest of the season to tie that. So I think that would be safe, and that's huge. The Pacers I worry about because Sabonis supposedly has a significant injury. Miles Turner is out for who knows how long. They talked about trading both of those guys, the deadline possibly. But they've got Brogdon. They've got Chris LeVert. They've got Lance Stevenson back. And they're feisty. They've won 2 in a row. So hopefully there's a little bit of space enough there to hold off the Pacers. So what I'm saying is I think that the bottom 4, even though I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey give you a baseline of talent that's better than a lot of these teams, what they have, the Thunder just don't have the depth. That's why they're losing. They don't have the vets that these other teams do, and they don't have the depth behind SGA, Giddey, Dort, and then I'll throw in Kenrich and Muscala. Everybody else, they're all so young. Trey Mann's exciting. JRE has been solid. Wiggins has been solid. But the rookies, it's up and down, especially on the road, inconsistencies and things like that. So that's why the Thunder are going to lose. I think they have a brighter future than all these teams because they have SGA, Giddey, and all these picks. But for this season, I think that the Thunder are pretty secure in having one of the bottom 4 records. I think they'll end up 3.
Yeah. And you mentioning they don't have the vets that some of these other teams have, very much by design.
Right. Yep. Sam
Uh,
Presti knows that's how you win with vets. I mean, you got to have young talent, and that's what a rebuild's all about. But young talent, I mean, look at Russ and KD's first season together. These were going to be 2 of the best players of all time. But that first season, when it was KD's year number 2 and Russ's rookie year, it was a struggle. I mean,
yep.
they struggled to win. No matter KD's rookie year, when he was all by himself, they couldn't win. And I mean, that's just how it is with young talent. No matter how good Josh Giddey and SGA are right now, it's still young talent. SGA is ready to win, obviously, but he doesn't have the vets around him.
We've got to talk about the Clippers.
Ugh.
They won again tonight. They won. They gave the Nuggets all they could handle in Denver the other night. It took probably the best game anybody's played this year from Jokic to beat that Clipper team. They're obviously down Paul George and Kawhi, and this is you. People talk a lot about culture in the NBA, and it really does matter. And you're seeing it with the Clippers. They have it. They have one of the best 5 coaches in the league, and he counts for a lot. When you've got injuries like they have and legitimate stars gone, you fall back on culture and leadership and a coach that's going to continue to uh, encourage guys, inspire guys to play incredibly hard, no matter who's out there, and it shows because they're very efficient. They do things well. They don't beat themselves, and for the Thunder, it's very very frustrating right now because looking at their schedule, we've been waiting on this part of their schedule because it's very on paper, it's very tough, but they are standing up to it. And I got to say, it's impressive what they're doing. I give most of the credit to Ty Lue and just keeping the guys together because they could easily phone it in. They could easily check out, especially with reports out there that they're going to be sellers at the deadline. That is that is every possible ingredient you would need for a team that's just going to fold and say, we'll see you in the fall. And they haven't done that. They are playing super hard. And tonight they came back once again on a team with a legitimate MVP candidate in Embiid. Like it was on the road. It's just really impressive, but also very frustrating.
It's really frustrating, man. Like as if you're a fan of the Thunder and you know that the Thunder have a really good chance at a top pick with their own pick, but it's still going to end up being a coin flip as we saw last year. And then this Clippers pick with Kawhi out and PG out for who knows how long. And looking at this tough schedule, and it just looked like, oh man, this could be another top 10 pick. The Thunder could legitimately have a top 5 pick and then another top 10 pick. And then these Clippers, again, credit to the Clippers, credit to Ty Lue, but it is really, really frustrating if you're a Thunder fan to see them beat a 76ers team in Philly with Joel Embiid going off and Tobias Harris having a really good game. The Clippers were up by 20 points, and they lose at home to a Paul George and Kawhi-less Clippers team. Credit to the Clippers, credit to Ty Lue, but man, their record could be a lot worse than it is right now. Right now, the Clippers are in the number 15 spot, 23-24, and of course, all years for the West to be down, it would be this year. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
normally 23-24 in the West, this is like a top 8 or 9 pick right now.
Right.
But as is right now, it's 15. Now, if the Timberwolves can win, if they win tomorrow or the next day, I can't remember when they play, then they've been flip flopping back and forth. Like the last couple weeks, the Wolves and Clippers just keep going back and forth between being in the lottery and being in the playoffs. Ideally, if you're a Thunder fan, you want the Clippers to end up in the play-in in one of the 9 or 10 spots, and not the 7 or 8 spot because it's a lot harder to make it in the playoffs. You got to win 2 games if you're 9 or 10. You just have to win 1 game if you're 7 or 8. So if they can end up in the 9 or 10 spot, there's a good chance they'll end up in the lottery. But
And
Man, they
their next game is Sunday, and they play at the Knicks, which that really is that's kind of one of those games that counts twice, right? Because the Knicks are just
yep.
below them in the standings. That would help a ton. But going back to that 538 projection, they have the Clippers finishing with the 12th worst record. So that would be a lottery pick. They project the Clippers to miss the playoffs. They also 11th is the Lakers. They we talked about it in our preview season preview. I read off some numbers from 538 that had the Lakers finishing at 500 at 41 and 41, and we were like, what? Like, what are they? What do they know that we don't know? But they were dead on about the struggles that the Lakers would have. Back to the Clippers, though, they have the Knicks and then the Wizards coming up, and those are the next two games, and then they go to Orlando. So if ideally they lose both the Knicks game and the Wizards game.
Yeah, ideal, and they could. I mean, these are road games. The Knicks are capable. I mean, they've struggled as of late, but they're basically a 500 team. The Wizards have been good. I mean, on paper, without Paul George and Kawhi, those should be losses. I mean, like they're playing heavy minutes to like Brandon Boston Jr.
Yeah,
and obviously Terrence Mann. They're high on him, but he's been up and down. And then like guys like Batum like going off for 30 points in one half. I mean, it's just been that like they've been getting these crazy wins, and every win or loss for this Clippers team is so big for the Thunder and their possible draft pick. I mean, it's such an enormous difference if they end up with, say, the 10th pick or the 15th pick, just because of the talent that's there and also the ability to move up. If there's a guy that they love at number 7, it's a lot easier to move up from 10 to 7 than it is from 15 to 7.
yep,
So, with most drafts, I mean, you can look at last year's draft. Like Franz Wagner was taken at 8. James Bouknight was taken at 11. In the NBA, it's not like the NFL where you find 1 through 32, they're all good players, and then second round they're all good players. Like it's such a big drop off from like 1 to 5 to 6 to 10 to 11 to 15 to 16 to 20, and of course, it's a crapshoot once you get past the top 3, 4, 5. But historically, there's tiers, and so you really, really want this Clippers pick to end up as a possible top 10 or 12 if possible. Plus, it gives you it's another chance at the lottery. It increases your odds
right.
that it's a top 4 pick.
Shout out Portland. They came back and beat Boston on the road. That's a
Yeah.
very helpful win, as well as Atlanta. They beat Miami. So a couple good wins. It wasn't all bad tonight for the standings as far as Thunder goes. What do you know about Shaden Sharp? He allegedly will be a part of this draft class. What are your thoughts on him and just him as a player, and then him potentially being a part of this class?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know anything about him until that report came out a couple days ago about him. So of course,
Same.
because I'm a nerd. Because I'm a nerd. Oh, you too?
I'd never heard of his name.
Yeah, neither did I. So, like Spencer sent us a message. Spencer, also part of Daily Thunder, Spencer Davis, and me and Ryan were like, "Oh, okay." And then like I was like, I have no idea who this dude is. So I looked him up. I did all my research. Now I feel like I'm like pretty well versed in him, and he's a really, really exciting, fun player. He's a guy. He's at Kentucky right now. Hopefully, he comes out into this draft because the more blue chip top talent at the top of this draft, the better for the Thunder. So if they end up, again with the 5th or 6th pick, maybe you still get a blue chip guy there, and maybe if they end up with the 3rd or 4th, it pushes one of the bigs down that the Thunder want. But if the Thunder ended up with Sharp, I mean, I know that everybody thinks the Thunder are only going to draft a big here, a power forward or a center, and it is the biggest need. But right now, the only ones that for sure, without a doubt, going forward are like build around them players for a contender are SGA and Josh Giddey. Maybe Lou Dort. Maybe he tops out as a really, really good role player. But as far as you can start them hopefully on a contender, would be SGA and Giddey at this point. So I think you can still take a guard like Sharp. He's a really dynamic, athletic guy. He's a 3-point shooter. He's got NBA range. He's really electric and exciting. He can finish around the rim. He can dunk. He's got a great wingspan. He's only like 6'3", but he's got like a 6'9" wingspan. So you can play him at the 2 or the 3. He would be a great fit in the middle of SGA and Giddey. So yeah, I mean, if the Thunder were to end up with him, another Kentucky guy, be really, really exciting. But again, he can also push down some more talent to the Thunder, which is great as well.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head with you want as many tier 1 guys in this draft as possible. That is the best possible scenario.
Yes, absolutely. Now, unless you end up with like the first or second or third pick, then you're like, I hope the rest of the guys stink because you got one of those top guys.
Sure. Then you want to hoard the only good player in the draft.
Right, exactly. But playing the odds, and and the odds of getting the first or second pick, are slim. Then it expands once you get to third, fourth, fifth. Then you're like, okay, if there's like 5 or 6 really, really good guys, and right now it looks like if I were to say tier 1 guys, I think there's 5. I still think that Jabari for me is number 1. I'd have Banchero 2, Chet Holmgren 3. Then I'd have Sharp 4, and then I would have a Jaden Ivey 5. Like if you can end up with one of those 5 guys, you're getting a really, really good player. And all those guys can potentially shoot. They're all shooters. So for the Thunder, they would all feel a huge need because I think that shooting is still a bigger need than just size at this point.
I read a report, an anonymous front office executive said of Jabari Smith, he's one of the best 6'10" or higher, one of the best 6'10" or higher shooters alive.
Yeah,
and he really is an amazing shooter for his size.
He is, and he can play defense, and he's got a great wingspan. Like, yeah, he's only 6'10", but he can play some center because of his wingspan. Man, he is.
How much of him have you watched?
I've watched more and more. Like I've become kind of nerdy on the draft, like in the last couple of weeks, and so
who does he remind you of? Like if you had, like I know we hate comparisons, but I'm going to ask you for one. Like who does he remind you of?
This is going to sound ridiculous, and it's not perfect, but just looking at his size and his shooting ability and his ability to kind of handle the ball and create for his size, he kind of reminds me of KD. I mean, it's not perfect, but like I'm just looking at 6. There's not many guys. And that's why you roll the dice on a Poku at number 17, right? If you can get a guy that's basically 7 feet tall and can shoot and has NBA range and can handle some, put it on the floor and can play some defense, I mean, that can be a franchise changer. And I'm not saying he's Kevin Durant, but if I had to say who he reminds me of right now, it'd be the closest one. Who are you thinking?
I honestly, that's why I asked, because I didn't know. I haven't watched enough of him to think like, the first time I saw him, I thought about Rudy Gay, which I know he's not like tier 1 as far as like he's not a Durant, but like that's what it looked like to me, is like the way he moved around and the way he shot the ball. He just shoots from such a high release point, as does Kevin Durant, but like that's what it reminded me of. Like a McGrady, like a taller wing shooter, like similar to Rudy Gay to me, but like even bigger, even taller. He's very tall. He's listed at 6'10", but of course as we know, once you get past 6'9", like who knows?
Right.
You could be 7 foot.
Right.
So yeah,
I know that
I've started to watch college a little more. I've started to watch these guys. Like I've started to like seek out their games more and more.
Yep. Same here. I've done the same thing. Like I kind of started from the top with Paolo and Chet and Jabari. I worked my way to Jaden Ivey and Sharp. Also, I don't know how to say his name because I read these names all the time. but I don't actually hear them said very much. But Benedict Mathurin, if
Hmm.
I'm saying it correctly, he's a really exciting player as well. If the Thunder end up with one of those second tier guys, to me, he's at the top of that. Like I would have him at 6 at this point. AJ Griffin is right there with those guys. Patrick Baldwin Jr. But yeah, I really, really like Benedict Mathurin as well, and he's a Canadian, and we all know how the Thunder feel
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Canadians.
As is Shaden.
As is Shaden. Yes, we didn't mention that. Yeah, Shaden is a Canadian that's enrolled at Kentucky right now. Like
Yeah.
it just makes too much sense for him not. And his name starts with Shay. It's
Yeah.
Shaden. It's pronounced Shay.
Yeah.
So is Shay from Canada playing at Kentucky? I mean, come on, it's meant to
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah. Uh, absolutely. I was about to make a very, very corny joke, but I'm not going to. I do want to ask you before we get out of here. Are you watching Boba Fett?
I'm not yet. I'm not. I just have so many things on my list, but I am going to get to it. Is it really good?
I wouldn't say it's really good, but I'm still going. I'm still going. I'm
Okay.
caught up and I'm intrigued enough to keep watching.
It's no Mandalorian.
No.
Okay,
No.
that's what I've heard, and
No.
that's probably one reason why they haven't been as on it. Like it's getting good reviews, and the people I've talked to, it seems like the critics like it more than audience. It seems like people I've talked to, it's been kind of mixed. Like pretty good is what I keep the seam hearing. So I
Yeah.
haven't jumped on it yet. I will
It's
eventually.
it's cool. It's cool. I mean,
Okay.
it's a little drier. It's not near as to me, it's not near as exciting as Mandalorian, but it's cool. I
Okay.
figured you were on it though. Are you a Star Wars guy? I feel like we've talked about this.
I am okay. Here's what I am. I'm a pulp culture guy, and
Yeah.
I'm a movie and TV show nerd. So I will watch things that I'm not even necessarily really into. Like I like Star Wars, but I don't love Star Wars. But I've seen every Star Wars movie and show just because I watch everything that comes out if it's like relevant. And
Right.
so yeah,
Are you caught up on all the Marvel shows?
I am. Yeah. Now Marvel, I'm a fanboy of Marvel, so I am caught up in all those.
Okay. Perfect.
Huh.
Rank for me WandaVision, Loki, and Hawkeye. 1,
You're
2,
gonna
and
be
3.
surprised by this. And do you want me to do Falcon and Winter Soldier too?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yes, that one as well.
Okay. Okay. So this is gonna be a surprise. You're and I think you're gonna completely disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't care. I actually have WandaVision at number one, and
Okay.
I just thought it was really unique and
Hmm.
different. I love the whole as a child of like the 80s that grew up watching a bunch of like 60s and 70s reruns. I love the whole concept of all the different eras of sitcoms and basing around them. And I like those characters, Wanda and Vision, more than I like any of the other characters.
Yep.
Besides Loki, I really, really like the Loki character. And that's why I have Loki at number 2, because I really, really like his character. I wasn't as into probably the whole, the different timelines and things like that. It got a little convoluted to me, but I still enjoyed it. I would have Hawkeye at number 3. I haven't been a huge Hawkeye fan. I do like the actor. I like Jeremy Renner. And then I have Falcon and Winter Soldier at number 4. I've just never been really big on Winter Soldier. I know a lot of people are. Falcon, I'm neutral on. So
It wasn't
that's my
great.
rankings.
It wasn't great. I thought I think WandaVision is more. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think I would guess that's the consensus like
Oh,
favorite.
really?
That would be my guess. I will say this might be the hot take. My favorite was Hawkeye. I
Was it?
really
Okay.
really enjoyed Hawkeye.
I enjoyed it more.
Big Haley Steinfeld fan.
Yeah, I do like Haley Steinfeld, and she was my favorite person. See, that was my thing. Like going into it, I'm like, Hawkeye. Like, I mean, he just shoots arrows.
I gotta say I enjoyed the low stakes of it all. I enjoyed the fact that
right.
this wasn't like super consequential, but it was just a lot of fun.
It was more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than I expected to. I'll say that. Yeah.
That's good though.
Yeah.
They've been solid. Post
Yeah,
Endgame,
all of them have
post
been
Endgame, I
solid.
did not expect all of this. This past 12 months was an amazing run from them.
Oh, it was. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would still like now that they're like retroactively a part of the Marvel universe, even though they weren't, produced at the time being so. Now, like if we're gonna like rank Daredevil and Punisher in those, like I would still have Daredevil and Punisher probably, even though the production values weren't as high. Did you watch the Daredevil or Punisher
I didn't.
shows?
I didn't. Never saw either
They're
one.
really good. Luke Cage was pretty solid too. Jessica Jones was decent. I mean, those all those Marvel shows that were on Netflix
Hmm.
several years ago, they're all worth watching as well.
We might have to we might have to go a little 10 minutes on Marvel at the end of every one of these at the end of every one of these podcasts.
Oh, I'm down. I could talk for an hour about
I think
Spider-Man: No Way Home
I think there'd be
alone.
think there'd be some interest in that. All right, we will be back next week for another update on Oklahoma City and all things surrounding them. Brandon, thanks so much, man.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night, Ryan.
All right, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week on the Daily Thunder podcast. Hey, Hoopheads, we appreciate you listening to this episode of Daily Thunder. Be sure to check out other NBA pods on the Hoopheads Podcast Network, including Cavalier Central, Nuck If You Buck, 305 Culture, Spanning the Spurs, Hashtag Lakers, Motor City Hoops, X's and O's NBA Breakdown, LA Hoops, The Wizards Hoops Analyst, At the Buzzer, and Lakers Fast Break. There are also coaching-focused podcasts, Thrive with Trevor Huffman, Beyond the Ball, the CoachesMaze.com podcast, Players Court, Bleachers and Boards, The Green Light, and Courtside Culture. Oh, and don't forget the network's flagship, the Hoop Heads podcast, hosted by Mike Klinzing and Jason Sunkel, and featuring the best minds in the game from its grassroots to the NBA.